Welcome to Comp Fabric number 2. I'm sorry. This will be my final video for tonight. So first, let me apologize for the other 2 videos because I'm pretty sure I pissed off some Trump reporters. I'm sorry. Now let me get on to the bread and butter. So, I need to talk about Indians. So we're gonna talk about this really quickly, and then I'm going to go to bed. If you're watching this, then it's already been posted. If you're not watching this, well, then it's not posted yet as of the time of me making it. Couple of times in life, this has been one of these issues that you have to be of that human genome to understand. So it's happened to me on Facebook, in these little dots, those little things. Let me move it up higher so y'all can see that little dot right there. So it's happened to me there. It's happened to me in life. It's happened to me where I explain to people my ethnic background. So Indians, indigenous or native or Indians. So a lot of times I've had to explain to people in these groups, when they come off their mouth, they're like, well, we hate Indians. And I would come back with them and say, hey, watch it. I'm part Indian. It's like, no, we hate Indians. And I would come back and say, I am part Indian. And then I would ask them, I say, when you say you hate Indians, the feathers or the dots? All right? So that's what this video is about, the feathers or the dots. You see my other video about Kamala Harris where I thought when they said Indians, she was one like me, one of the feathers, not the one with the dots. Now, I don't have anything against Indians with the dots. Let's get that out of the way right now because I have defended lots of Indians with the dots on Facebook on these little groups when they were like, yo, because certain people who are of Indian descent or certain people who were from Pakistan or whatever were being judged racially. And some of the people from Pakistan were actually from Indian descent. Indians with the dots. And it's like, yo, some of my best friends are Indians with the dots. And y'all should not be judging them by the actions of other people from their respective ethnic backgrounds or whatever. And they were like, well, how could you stand up for them when no one stands up for you and your people? I was like, see, that's the difference maker. People who don't stand up for other people are just blind. Because they're blind by either a bad experience that they've had with other people or they've been taught to be racist. Alright? So I'm going to explain this. Racism is taught at home. Honestly, truly to God, racism is taught at home. It is not something that you come to school and teachers aren't going around teaching white kids to call black kids the N-word and N-worded kids. Every time you turn around, they aren't taught to call white people the C word or the H word. For educational purposes, I will spell those words for you. The H word is H-O-N-K-E-Y or H-O-N-K-Y. I do not spell very well, so Google it. And the C word is crackers. I don't know when the hell that happened, and in my generation, we call white kids Wonder Bread, and they call black kids wheat bread. Unless you were exceptionally black, where they called you burnt toast. Okay? Now we got that racial shit out of the way. When you hear those words, you will now know. And I was pretty much buttered bread, because I was mixed. Which is also one of the things we ate. We love some butter bread in the projects, man. God, being poor sucks. Anyway, so when we had Indians at school, but not my kind. We didn't have the feathers. We had the dots in school. I went to school with like 4 or 5 people from India, from like Burley Moran to Walker to Beaufort to CHS. We had Indians in the school, but we didn't have any natives in the school. In fact, I dodged the big bullet all through school by not knowing that I was part of Native into the 5th grade. And then by the time we got to the 5th grade and the Challenger blew up, no one gave a shit that I was part Native. No one. Because no one fucking knew. Even I didn't know. Until Miss Conrad decided to call me out on it. And got my ass beat. Now by Miss Conrad. Thank you, Miss Conrad. If you're still alive, God bless you. Because you definitely probably got to be 100 years old now since I'm almost 50. And the 5th grade was a long fucking time ago. But Miss Conrad caught me out on my native indigeneity. Because like I said, I didn't know. I didn't know until she told me. Then I had to go home and ask, which is like why I said this is the video. Racism is taught at home, not at school. I didn't know. And the kids didn't know. They just thought I was half black and half white with curly hair. So did I. And when Miss Conrad called it out, she didn't do it intentionally, but what she said was, James, you're going to make the best canoe in class because you're part Native American. I looked at her like she was crazy. And I've told y'all this story before. I literally looked at her like she was fucking crazy. And I was like, the fuck you talking about? I'm black. And she's like, no, dear. You are not black. You are not all the way black. Yes, I am. No, son. You are not all the way black. You are part Native. I was like, I'm going to ask my mama. God, this guy, man, I'm sorry. So I got home. I almost went home with tears in my eyes because that was like, never ever was told that shit. Never. You know, I was never told that I was part Native until that day. And though in the summertime, I spent a lot of summer times with my great grandmother who's Native, shit never came up. Shit never came up. You know, it just never dawned on me. It never dawned on me. It never came up. It was never something that any side of the family brought up. My dad's side, who was the most Native side, didn't bring that shit up. Did not bring that shit up. My mom's side didn't bring that shit up. Never brought up our Native history. Never brought that shit up. And so when you're on Facebook and they start talking about Indians, you know, I start getting a little bit upset. Because after that, when I started getting into high school, is when Native became a problem. All right? When you heard the word Indian, it became a problem. Because people would be like, it's part Indian. Part Indian. And, you know, you catch it every now and again. Because I'm pretty sure that throughout all of CHS, outside of the Indians with the feathers, I was the only one with the feathers. Because there were no Indians in CHS that I can recall. Every person that was an Indian in CHS were the ones with the dots. I was the only one with the feathers. But you wouldn't know that because I had black hairstyles. I had a post-apocalyptic fade, and I had a Woody Woodpecker do in the 9th grade, and then all that shit got cut off. And I had a post-apocalyptic fade that I kept for years. I looked like the Fresh Prince. But, you know, I don't have my yearbook, but if I ever do another video and I have my yearbook, when I get it from A-Dog, I'll do it. I'll show you guys. But my face is still the same. Just my hair. So, I'm sitting here, and I'm thinking feathers and dots while we're on Facebook. And I had to correct people. It's like, yo. And they're like, well, why are you protecting them? It's like, because I am part Indian. I'm not their Indian, but I'm still Indian. And I have Indian friends in my real life, as well as on these little social media things. Just because one of them is a dick doesn't mean all of them have to be a dick. So just like that would be me hating white people because the white side of our family didn't want nothing to do with us. Or that would be me hating white people because of how many times a white person has called me a half-breed or the N-word. I can't hate all white people for the actions of one white person. That wouldn't be right. And some of my best friends, literally, were white. You know? Right up until I punched the white girl in the mouth in like the 3rd or 4th grade for her calling me the N-word. Other than that, I've never been in trouble before in school. Like, ever. Except for in Miss Orr's class, who was a black lady. Barry Bibb got me in trouble. I didn't get much recess, if any, in the first grade. But prior to the first grade, I was never called a half-breed in kindergarten. I was never called a half-breed in first grade. It's when we hit second grade. That's when all that shit started. From second grade to the fifth grade. Racism is taught at home. Understand that if you are teaching your child to be a racist, your child has to live with those consequences of the shit that flies out of their mouth. I.e., the girl I hit in the mouth for calling me the N-word. I lost all my friends. I never told them that she called me the N-word because we didn't say that word in our house. We never used the N-word in our house. I don't know what happened when we left the projects, but when we lived in the projects, we never used the N-word. Never, ever used the N-word. And then we got to Ridgemont, and my mom and them went soft. But times were changing. Hell, if we cussed, we knew we was getting an ass whooping, so we was always prepared for that. But, we never used the N-word. And like I said, when I got into high school, I had to work at Kegler's for 3 years. So from 16, 17, 18. Time I got 19, which is when I quit, I had been called Chief a lot. A whole fucking lot. Let me see something. I owe this to you, Lou Diamond Phillips, and Kiefer Sutherland. What year did the movie Renegades come out? 1989. Renegades. Do we have synoptics? Renegades is a 1989 American action film directed by Jock Schroeder, starring Kiefer Sutherland and Lou Diamond Phillips. It's got to give me more than that. No, that is a film for 2017 that I haven't seen called Renegades. I need this one from 1989. And Jamie Gertz. It was released in June of 1989. Okay. Plot. Undercover agent for the Philadelphia Police Department attempts to flush out a corrupt officer. His investigation, blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. You guys can just go Google this shit. I honestly thought that this shit was gonna fucking talk. But in the movie, whenever Lou Diamond Phillips was called Chief, he flipped the fuck out. And that became a thing. The word chief became a native insult. And so if you were native, the word chief started pissing you off. Just like in the movie Renegades. And the word chief started pissing me off. Because this one white dude, I don't know what he was going through, but this one white dude, man, for 3 years. 3 fucking years. Y'all want to count that out, or do I need to calculate that shit? It's 365 days in a year. How much is that in 3 years? It says Atlantic City, 5 years. What the fuck? Let's just go get the calculator. Hold on, let me make sure it's 365 days. How many days in a year?
To convert from years to days, multiply unit of time by 365.
Yeah, I just need to know how many damn days it is in a year. So 365 times 3. 365 times 3. So for 1,095 days, divided bi-weekly. So, let's see, divide that by 3. No, that ain't gonna work. I might have to divide it by something else, because there's 7 days a week, and 3 of the days on the weekend. So you can't divide it by 3. We'll divide it by 2. So, dividing it by 2, I get 547 and a half days. That sounds more accurate than the 365 days. But it was only on the weekend, so you guys do the math. I suck at math. But anyway, every weekend for 3 fucking years, this dude called me Chief. And I would get angry. And I would beg this man to call me James every fucking time I come to work. I say, dude, my name is James. Please call me James. Don't keep calling me Chief. All right, Chief. Way to go, Chief. How's it going, Chief? And every damn day that I come to work, get out of school, having a bad day, what's up, Chief? It's like this motherfucker was there. If I go home, later, Chief. It's like he never fucking left, and he always played I Got Friends in Low Places, Achy Breaky Heart, Chattahoochee, and the Thunder Rose. This motherfucker went broke at the slot machine. The jukebox. And my head wouldn't stop spinning because he'd play a song, go smoke cigarettes. And it's like his timing on smoking his cigarettes was like he knew when I had to either dump the trash or go do police call and pick all the cigarette butts up that this asshole threw on the floor or the ground. So yeah, feathers versus dots. I have had to make sure people understand when you talk to them. I stopped saying I was part Indian. I started saying I was part Native. Or I would tell them that I'm part Cherokee versus telling them I'm part Indian, because when I say if I'm part Indian, the first thing they say is feathers or dots. I was like, well, I'm not the kind with the freaking damn dots. Because they always wear the dots that I know of. I could be wrong. But you have to earn your feathers, depending on what tribe you come from. That being said, racism starts at home. And you need to know that. Racism starts at home. If you don't know that, I hope I just taught you that. That being said, I'm Echo Fang Greatwell. This is Kung Fu Havoc number 2. Be seeing you.